The air was heavy with mist, and the valley smelled of wet stone and burned minerals. The human, Daniel Cross, walked slowly with his scanner in hand, his boots sinking into the soft ground. He had landed on this planet only hours ago, searching for rare resources his crew needed. But something about this place felt wrong, as if unseen eyes were watching him. The steam was thick, curling around his body, hiding shapes that moved in the shadows. Every step echoed strangely, like whispers bouncing from the walls of the canyon. Daniel's instincts told him to leave, but curiosity pushed him forward. He had been to alien worlds before, but this one felt alive, like it was breathing with him. Suddenly, he saw a door cut into the side of the rock. Glowing faint blue against the steam, it looked ancient, older than the cities of Earth. Yet still humming with power, Daniel hesitated, his hand hovering above the carved stone. The scanner beeped with strange readings: heat, energy, life, but none of it made sense. Then, the door slid open without him touching it, and a wave of steam rolled out. It was hotter inside, the air almost burning his lungs. Daniel coughed and tried to step back. But before he could, a hand shot out. A hand not human-scaled, strong, with claws that dug into his sleeve. He was yanked forward with such force that his breath left his chest. The steam swallowed him whole, hiding the outside world in seconds. Inside, it was darker, the chamber lit only by glowing symbols etched into the walls. Moisture dripped from the ceiling, and every sound echoed like a heartbeat. Daniel stumbled, but managed to stay on his feet. His heart raced as he looked around, trying to see his captor. And then, through the steam, she appeared, tall, with skin that shimmered like polished stone, and eyes glowing faint gold. Her hair, if it could be called that, flowed like strands of molten silver. Her body was wrapped in cloth that clung to her in the heat. But what Daniel noticed most was the tail that moved behind her, long and powerful. It swayed in the mist, alive, dangerous, and oddly graceful. The alien woman circled him slowly, her footsteps soft against the wet stone floor. Her gaze never left him, sharp and unblinking. Daniel raised his hands, showing he carried no weapon. He tried to speak, but the heat burned his throat, leaving only a whisper. "You should not be here," she said, her voice low and echoing in the chamber. It was strange, musical, yet commanding, like a song that carried warning. Daniel swallowed hard, forcing out words. "Who are you? What do you want?" The alien woman tilted her head, studying him as if he were some rare animal. "You are human," she said, as if the word itself was dangerous. "You do not understand what this place is." Her tail brushed the floor as she stepped closer, and Daniel fought the urge to retreat. Every instinct screamed danger. But something about her eyes kept him frozen. She reached out and touched his arm, her hand warm, almost burning through his sleeve. "You should have died in the valley," she whispered, "yet you walked here alive." Her tone carried both surprise and suspicion. Daniel frowned, his voice trembling. "Why did you pull me inside?" The woman leaned close, her breath hot against his skin. "Because they were watching you," she said softly. "And if they had found you first, you would not be breathing now." Daniel's chest tightened. "They? Whose they?" But she only smiled faintly, a smile that did not reach her golden eyes. The chamber seemed smaller now, the steam pressing closer. Daniel felt trapped, his body weak from the heat, his vision blurred for a moment, and his knees almost gave way. The woman's tail moved like a serpent, sliding across the floor toward him. Before he could react, it wrapped around his leg, slow but unyielding. Daniel's breath caught in his throat as the alien woman watched his every movement. "You are mine now," she said, her voice echoing like a vow through the steam. Her tail tightened, not to crush, but to claim, to bind. Daniel's pulse hammered in his ears, his mind racing. Was this some ritual? A trap? or something far more dangerous. The steam swirled, symbols glowed brighter, and the chamber felt alive. He tried to pull away, but the grip only grew firmer, and in that moment, he realized the truth he was no longer in control of. His fate, the alien woman stepped even closer, her glowing eyes inches from his. "You entered the chamber of bond," she whispered, "and now your path is tied to mine." Her words sent a chill through Daniel's spine, despite the burning heat around him, and in that moment of fear and awe, he understood this was only the beginning. The steam thickened until Daniel could hardly see more than a few steps ahead. Every breath burned like fire, his lungs struggling against the heavy air. The alien woman moved easily through the heat, her golden eyes glowing brighter. She seemed born for this place, while he felt weaker with every passing second. The chamber was vast, though the mist made it look endless. Strange glowing lines pulsed across the stone walls like veins carrying light. Symbols older than any human language flickered faintly, whispering secrets he could not understand. Dripping water echoed in the silence, but Daniel could feel a heartbeat, not his, not hers, but the chamber itself. The alien woman stopped before one of the walls and pressed her hand against the glowing carvings. The runes lit up, brighter than fire, casting the steam in golden light. Daniel flinched, his instincts screaming that something powerful had just awakened, yet the woman only turned her head, watching him with calm certainty. "You feel it, don't you?" she asked, her voice soft but carrying weight. "This chamber breathes. It chooses. It binds." Daniel shook his head, sweat dripping down his face. "What do you mean, binds?" Her tail shifted behind her, curling slowly. "You are already inside human, and it does not let go." Daniel's heart pounded faster, his eyes darting toward the door he had been dragged through. But when he looked, it was gone, only more stone and steam. "No," he whispered, his chest tightening. There was a way out. The alien woman smiled faintly, almost cruelly. "Not anymore." She stepped closer, the steam swirling around her like a cloak. Her hand touched his chest, and for a moment, Daniel thought she meant to kill him. Instead, he felt heat spread through his skin, burning but not painful. The runes on the wall pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, as though answering her touch. "This place is sacred to my kind," she said, circling him slowly. "Here, bonds are forged, not with words, not with blood, but with breath and fire." Her tail slid across the floor, curling near his boots. Daniel fought the urge to step back, afraid that weakness would mark him prey. He tried to stay firm, his voice rough. "I didn't ask for this." The alien woman stopped behind him, her breath warm on the back of his neck. "Nor did I," she said, her tone both sharp and sorrowful. "But the chamber does not care what we want, it only decides." Daniel clenched his fists, frustration boiling through him. "What do you want from me? Why drag me here?" Her footsteps moved around him again, her golden eyes never leaving him. "You ask the wrong question, human," she whispered. "Ask why the chamber let you live." The words struck him harder than any weapon. He remembered her earlier warning others. Had been watching others who wanted him dead. If not for her, he would have fallen. But was she protecting him, or claiming him for herself? Daniel's body shook, not from fear, but from weakness. The steam seemed to crawl into his veins, weighing him down. His knees buckled, and he nearly collapsed, but the alien woman caught him with surprising care. Her scaled hand gripped his shoulder, steadying him. "You are not ready," she said, her voice softer now, almost gentle, "but you will be, or you will die here." Her tail coiled lightly around his arm, this time not crushing, but holding him upright. The heat of her touch spread through him like fire in winter. Daniel's thoughts raced, torn between anger and fear. He wanted to fight back, but his body betrayed him. "Why me?" he whispered, Struggling to keep his eyes open, the alien woman leaned closer. Her eyes locking with his. Because you walked where no human should. Because the chamber chose you. And because now, you are mine. Her words struck deep, echoing. In the chamber, like a sentence passed down, Daniel felt the pressure around him grow. The runes glowing brighter, the very air seemed to hum, as though the chamber itself agreed with her claim. He tried to shake his head, to deny it, but the heat smothered his strength. The alien woman guided him to the center of the chamber, where the steam swirled like a storm. She placed her hand on his chest again, pressing firmly. Breathe. She commanded. Daniel gasped, filling his lungs with the burning mist. It hurt at first, fire tearing down his throat. But then, strangely, the pain faded. Replaced by a strange warmth, the runes blazed, and Daniel felt something inside him shift. It was as if his heartbeat no longer belonged only to him. The alien woman's tail wrapped fully around his waist now. Her eyes glowed brighter as she whispered, "The bond has begun." Daniel's vision blurred between the steam and the light. His last thought before darkness took him was simple and terrifying. He was no longer free. The chamber had taken him, and she was the key to his survival. Daniel woke with a start, his chest rising and falling as if he had run for miles. The steam still filled the chamber, curling around him like a living creature. His skin burned with heat. Yet there was a strange energy inside him now. It pulsed. With every heartbeat, echoing faintly with the glowing runes around him, the alien woman stood only a few steps away, her golden eyes watching him closely. Her tail rested on the floor, still coiled, but no longer holding him. "You breathe the chamber's fire now," she said, her voice calm. "You will not die here, at least. Not yet." Daniel sat up slowly. His body heavy but stronger than before. The burning ache in his chest had faded. Replaced by a sharp awareness, he could hear the dripping water more clearly. Feel the vibrations in the stone beneath him. The chamber had changed him in ways he did not understand. "What did you do to me?" he demanded, his voice hoarse. The alien woman tilted her head, studying him like a puzzle. "I did nothing," she said. "The chamber did. I only kept you alive long enough for it to begin." Her words carried no apology, only certainty. Daniel clenched his fists, anger pushing through his fear. "I didn't ask for this," he said, struggling to stand. The chamber swayed around him, steam swirling as if it sensed his defiance. The alien woman moved closer, her presence commanding. "You think choice matters here," she whispered, her tail lifted slightly, swaying like a predator ready to strike. "This place does not hear your protests. It only binds what it touches." Daniel stepped back, but the wall of steam seemed to close in. He was trapped between the heat of the chamber and the force of her presence inside him. Two feelings battled: fear of her control and a strange pull toward her. It was not affection, not yet, but something deeper, something alien, and the more he tried to fight it, the stronger it became. Daniel's voice cracked. "You said others were watching me? Who are they?" The woman's golden eyes darkened, her expression sharp. "Hunters," she said. "Those who despise your kind and mine. They wait outside, hoping you would stumble into their grasp. But the chamber hides us now, its mist cloaking your scent. Your heartbeat, your weakness." Her words chilled him despite the burning air. Enemies out there, enemies in here. Where was safety? He looked at her, trying to see beyond her sharp tone. "Why save me?" he asked softly. "Why not let them take me?" The alien woman paused, her tail curling tighter around itself for the first time. Her expression shifted, not cruel, but weary. "Because I know what they would have done," she said, her voice low. Her gaze fell to the runes, glowing beneath their feet. "I have seen cages, fire, and the screams of those who could not fight back. Daniel felt a knot in his throat, her words heavy with memory. This was not just a captor's claim, which is a survivor's truth. Still, he could not shake the chains her actions placed on him, he whispered. So I escaped one prison, only to fall into another. Her eyes snapped to his, glowing brighter in the steam. You call this a prison? She asked sharply, her tail lashed once against the floor, sending a shiver through the chamber. Then understand this had. I wanted you broken. You would already be dead. Daniel froze, his body tense. But she did not strike him, did not tighten her hold. Instead, she turned away, her shoulders stiff. You are not my enemy, human, but you are not free either. The bond has begun, and it will test you until you either master it or perish inside it. The words sank into Daniel's mind like fire into wood. The chamber, the bond, the hunters outside, everything closing around him. He wanted to scream, to deny it all, but deep inside, he knew fighting blindly would only kill him faster. The steam swirled again, and he felt the strange energy pulse through his veins. It was not his own, yet it beat in rhythm with his heart. He clenched his fists, whispering to himself, I will not let it control me. The alien woman turned back, hearing his words, her eyes narrowing. You struggle, she said softly, almost like a teacher. That is good. Struggle means you have not given up. She stepped closer, her tail brushing lightly against his arm. But do not mistake struggle for strength without me. This chamber will consume you. Daniel's jaw tightened, frustration boiling again. Every part of him wanted to reject her claim, yet his body told him she was right. He needed her knowledge, her guidance even, if it chained him to her side. It was a truth he hated, but one he could not escape. The alien woman leaned close, her golden eyes locking on his. You will resist, you will fight, and perhaps you will even hate me, she whispered. But whether you wish it or not, the bond has chosen, and the bond never lies. Daniel's breath caught, his mind spinning between anger, fear, and reluctant acceptance. The chamber pulsed again, steam rising, runes blazing like fire. He felt the energy surge through him, unstoppable, undeniable. And as the mist swallowed them both, Daniel understood his greatest struggle was not with her, not with the hunters outside, but with himself. And the bond burning inside his chest, the steam chamber pulsed with quiet energy. Glowing runes casting faint light across the stone walls. Daniel leaned back against the damp surface, his breath heavy, his thoughts restless. The bond inside him pulsed like a second heartbeat, a reminder he could not escape. And across from him, the alien woman stood silent, her golden eyes fixed on the floor as if lost in memories. For the first time since meeting her, Daniel noticed something different, her strength. Her commanding presence, it was still there, but beneath it was something else, a weight in her gaze, a heaviness in her stance, as if the bond was not only a curse for him, but for her as well. Finally, Daniel broke the silence, his voice low. You act like you control everything, but I can see it. This chamber doesn't just bind Mitt, binds you too, doesn't it? Her eyes lifted to his, sharp as a blade. For a moment, he thought she would strike him, deny his words, but instead, her expression softened, her tail curling close around her own legs. You see more than most humans, she admitted. Her voice quieter than before, she stepped closer, her hand brushing the glowing runes as though drawing strength from them. My kind calls this place the breath of origin, she said. Here, our ancestors made their first vows of loyalty and love. Here, they forged bonds so strong even death could not sever them. Her golden eyes narrowed, pain flashing across them. But in my time, the chamber has become something else. A prison for the desperate, a weapon for the strong. It does not ask permission, it takes. It binds, it decides, and I I have carried its mark before you ever set foot here." Daniel felt a chill crawl down his spine. He had suspected she knew more than she said, but the truth struck deeper. "You mean? You were bound before?" he asked carefully. The alien. Woman's jaw tightened, her eyes lowering. "Yes," she whispered. The word like broken glass on her tongue. "I was bound to one of my own kind. Long ago, a warrior of my clan, strong, proud, and cruel. He claimed me in this very chamber, not out of love, but out of conquest." Daniel's chest tightened as he listened, the heat of the steam no longer the reason for his unease. She went on, her voice steady but filled with old scars. "For years, I lived in his shadow. His bond choking me, his strength crushing mine. And when he fell in battle, when his blood stained the sand, the bond did not free me. It left me hollow, half a soul wandering the mist. The chamber marked me as broken and touchable, unworthy." Her golden eyes met his, glowing brighter in the steam. "But then, you came," she whispered. "Human blood, human breath." The chamber stirred again. "It dragged you in, not because you sought it, but because I still carried its curse. And now, for reasons even I do not understand, it has bound us together." Daniel's throat went dry, his anger fading into something more complex. This woman who had dragged him into fire was not just his captor. She was someone scarred, someone carrying a weight he could barely imagine. But still, her actions bound him. Her choice stole his freedom. "You could have left me out there," he said quietly. "You could have let me die, instead of chaining me to your past." Her tail twitched, a sign of irritation or guilt Daniel could not tell. "I could have," she admitted, "but I did not. Because if the chamber chose you, it means you are not weak, and weakness is death in this galaxy." She moved closer, her presence overwhelming in the mist. Her hand brushed his arm, warmer than the steam around them. "You may hate me now," she whispered, "but understand this, human. I did not save you to own why, saved you because together we might survive what hunts us." Daniel's heart pounded, torn between trust and suspicion. He wanted to pull away, to reject her touch, but her eyes held no lie, only pain and a strange kind of hope. And deep inside, the bond pulsed, urging him to listen. "What hunts us?" Daniel asked, his voice sharp. She turned her gaze toward the walls as if the stone itself carried ears. "The hunters outside are not mercenaries, not simple killers. They are seekers, sworn to destroy anything the chamber touches. To them, we are abominations, half-souls, bound by fire. They will not stop until we are ash." The words struck Daniel like thunder. Not only trapped, not only bound, but marked for death by enemies he did not even know. He took a deep breath, the steam filling his lungs with heat. "And if we survive, if we escape them." The alien. Woman's lips curved into the faintest, saddest smile. "Then, perhaps, human, you will see that not all bonds are chains. Some are weapons, some are shields. And some are the only way two lost souls can keep breathing in a world that wants them gone." Daniel stared at her, not sure whether to fear her or stand beside her. Her secret weighed heavy on his mind, but one truth was clear: whatever came next, his fate was no longer his alone. The chamber trembled, a low rumble spreading through the stone like a warning. Daniel felt it first in his chest, the strange bond inside him pulsing harder. Faster, the alien woman's golden eyes narrowed, her tail flicking sharply behind her. "They are here," she said, her voice firm. "The seekers have found us." Before Daniel could ask how, the steam shifted violently. A sudden cold swept through the air, clashing with the heat of the chamber. The runes along the walls dimmed, their glow shrinking as if in fear. And then, faint echoes of footsteps, many footsteps, came from beyond the walls. Daniel's heart raced, his fists clenching even though he carried no weapon. He turned to her, panic breaking through his voice. "They can come inside?" "Through this place." The alien woman gave a sharp nod, her eyes glowing brighter. "They cannot open the chamber's heart, but they will try, and when they do, it will burn everything inside." Her words chilled Daniel. Though the steam was hot around them, it meant one truth: this sacred place was about to become a battlefield. The sound of metal striking stone rang out, seekers breaking through the outer barrier. Their voices echoed, harsh and guttural, filled with hatred. Daniel could not see them yet, but he felt their presence like wolves circling prey. Fear clawed at him, but the bond in his chest burned hotter, urging him to stand. The alien woman stepped forward, her body tense like a warrior ready to strike, her claws extended, catching faint light, her tail whipping the air like a blade. "Stay behind me," she ordered sharply. Daniel shook his head, his jaw tightening. "I'm not hiding. If they want me, they'll have to go through me too." Her eyes flickered with surprise, but there was no time to argue. The chamber's door burst open with a blinding flash of blue light. Steam roared outward, and through the mist came figures tall, armored faces hidden behind masks. The Seekers, their weapons glowing with energy, their voices hissing with venom. "There!" one of them shouted, the cursed woman and her human prey. They surged forward, weapons raised, their movements sharp and merciless. Daniel stumbled back, his body screaming with fear, but the alien woman leaped like lightning, her claws slicing through the first attacker. The clash echoed like thunder inside the chamber. Steam hissed, runes flickered, and the air filled with the sound of metal striking stone. The alien woman fought with savage grace, her tail wrapping around one seeker. Crushing his armor until it cracked, she hurled him aside like broken steel, her roar shaking the chamber. Walls. Daniel felt the bond burn inside him, pushing strength through his veins. He grabbed a fallen weapon, an alien blade that hummed with energy. It was heavy, awkward, but his grip tightened. As another seeker charged toward him, Daniel raised the blade, blocking the strike with desperate force. The impact rattled his bones, nearly knocking him off his feet. But he pushed back, sparks flying as the weapon clashed. The seeker hissed in surprise, perhaps not expecting resistance from a human. Daniel gritted his teeth, swinging wildly, forcing the enemy to step back. The alien woman glanced at him through the chaos, her eyes blazing. "You fight with no training, yet the bond feeds you," she shouted. Her voice carried pride. Even in the heat of battle, Daniel barely had time to think before another seeker lunged. He ducked, his blade slicing across the attacker's leg. The seeker stumbled, and Daniel drove forward, adrenaline surging. He was no soldier, no warrior, but something inside him refused to fall. The bond pulsed. His breath matched the rhythm of the glowing runes. The seekers regrouped, circling like predators. "There are too many," Daniel gasped, sweat dripping down his face. The alien woman snarled, her tail coiling tight. "Then we cut them down until the rest run." She struck again, claws flashing, tail crushing. Daniel fought beside her, clumsy but fierce, his blade moving with desperate speed. Every strike echoed with the chamber's power. It was as though the place itself guided his hands, keeping him alive. But still, more seekers poured through the broken door, their numbers endless, their voices chanting curses as they advanced. Daniel's chest burned, his arms heavy. He stumbled, nearly falling, but her tail caught him, pulling him back to his feet. "Breathe," she commanded, her voice sharp even through the chaos. "Let the chamber's fire fill. You do not fight it, embrace it." Daniel gasped, inhaling the burning mist. His vision sharpened, his body steadied, the weakness fading into strange strength. Together, they pushed forward, back to back. She struck with the fury of her clan. He fought with the stubbornness of humanity. The Seekers began to falter, their formation breaking as their dead piled on the chamber floor. The steam grew thicker, wrapping around Daniel and the alien woman like a shield. At last, silence fell, broken only by dripping water and heavy breathing. Dozens of Seekers lay scattered, their armor cracked, their weapons silent. Daniel dropped the blade, his hands trembling, his chest heaving. The alien woman stood tall, her golden eyes burning with fire. "You see now," she whispered, her tail slowly uncoiling. "The bond is not a curse, is our strength." Daniel looked at her, his heart pounding. And though fear still lived inside him, another feeling rose beside it, trust not complete. Not yet, but real, for in that battle, they had stood together. And against all odds, they had survived. The chamber was silent now, except for the hiss of steam and the soft drip of water. Daniel leaned against the wall, his chest rising and falling, his body aching from the fight around him. The floor was littered with broken weapons and fallen Seekers. The battle was won for now. The alien woman stood in the center of the room, her golden eyes glowing faintly. Her body bore scratches and burns, yet she carried herself like a queen, who refused to bow, her tail curled slowly behind her. Not tense like before, but steady, controlled. Daniel watched her, his heart heavy with questions that pressed like weights. At last, he spoke, his voice raw. "If this bond ties me to you, then tell me the truth. Do I even have a choice?" His words echoed through the mist. The alien woman turned her gaze to him, unreadable, silent for a long moment. Finally, she stepped closer, her footsteps soft against the wet stone. "You do," she said, her voice low but steady. "The chamber does not chain the unwilling, it only tests the brave. You can leave now, return to your people, pretend none of this ever happened." Daniel blinked, startled, his chest tightening. "Leave. Just like that." Her eyes glowed brighter as she nodded. "Yes, human, the path out is open now. The Seekers are dead. The mist hides us. If you go now, the bond will weaken until it fades. You will return to your life, untouched." Her words should have filled him with relief. The choice of freedom, the escape he thought he wanted since she first dragged him into the chamber. But instead, Daniel felt something heavier and ache he could not name. His throat tightened as he asked, "And if I stay?" The alien woman's gaze held his, sharp and unblinking. "If you stay, you accept the bond. You accept me," she said simply. "It will not be easy. Our enemies will hunt us. You will never again be just human. Your breath, your strength. Your fate will be tied to mine until death or until the chamber decides otherwise." Daniel swallowed hard, the weight of her words pressing on him. Freedom or a life chained to a woman he barely knew. But when he looked at her, standing tall and fierce despite her scars, he saw not a captor, but someone who carried pain as deep as his own. His mind raced. He could imagine walking out, returning to his ship, his crew, his normal life. No more steam chambers, no more alien bonds. But he could also imagine her here, alone, facing endless enemies, her golden eyes burning with defiance, her tail coiled with no one to guard her back. Daniel's fists clenched, his chest rising and falling faster. He thought of the fight they had just survived, how she caught him when he fell, how the bond gave him strength, and how, against all odds, they had stood together. The alien woman tilted her head, watching him struggle with the choice. "You fear losing yourself," she said softly, "but perhaps what you fear is finding yourself." Her words cut deep, stirring something Daniel had buried for years. The part of him that wanted more than survival wanted meaning, purpose, connection. Daniel closed his eyes, breathing the heavy steam. The bond pulsed in his chest like a second heartbeat, He could feel her presence inside it, not invasive, but steady, waiting, not forcing, not demanding, only offering, finally. He opened his eyes, his voice firm, though his body trembled. "I don't want to run," he said. Her golden eyes widened, just slightly. "I choose to stay." The words hung in the chamber like a vow. For the first time, her expression broke. Her lips parted, her eyes softening with something like shock. "You would? Choose this." She whispered, "A bond you barely understand. A path filled with hunters, pain, and no promise of peace." Daniel nodded, his voice steady. "Yes, because I've seen enough to know. I'm stronger with you than without you, and maybe you're stronger with me too." The alien woman's tail coiled slowly, wrapping around his arm not to trap, but to anchor. Her voice was almost a whisper now. "Then the choice is sealed. From this moment, human. You are not mine alone. We are bound. Together." The chamber responded instantly, the runes blazing with fierce golden light. The steam rose higher, swirling around them like a storm. Daniel felt the bond surge, no longer painful but powerful. It filled his chest, his limbs, his very soul. Not a chain, but a connection alive, unbreakable. He gasped as the energy spread. Flashes of her past flickered in his mind, her battles, her scars, her loneliness, and in turn, she saw pieces of him, his childhood. His fear, his stubborn will, their lives, their struggles. Their broken pieces woven together by fire. When the light dimmed, the chamber was silent once more. The alien woman released him, though her eyes never left his. "You chose this path," she said quietly. "And from this moment forward, we stand or fall as one." Daniel breathed heavily, his body trembling but alive. He met her gaze, his voice steady. "Then let them come while face them together." The steam chamber no longer felt like a prison. The glow of the runes lit the mist with steady fire. Warm instead of threatening, Daniel stood with his chest rising and falling. Still aching, but filled with new strength, the alien woman stood across from him, her golden eyes watching not as captor, but as equal. For the first time since landing on this planet, Daniel felt clarity. The bond no longer throbbed with fear, pulsed with purpose. He could feel her presence inside it, steady and strong, like a heartbeat beside his own. And he knew she felt his as well. Stubborn, unyielding, human. The silence did not last. A deep rumble shook the chamber, cracks spreading across the ancient walls. The bodies of the fallen seekers shimmered and dissolved. Leaving no trace but scorched marks, the chamber itself was shifting. Reacting to their choice, "They know," the alien woman said, her voice firm. The seekers felt the bond's seal. They will come again. Stronger. This was only the first hunt. Daniel clenched his fists, his jaw tight, then let them come. She tilted her head, her tail curling. "You speak with fire. Human. But fire without direction burns everything. You will need more than courage. You will need control." Before Daniel could answer, the chamber flared with light. The runes pulsed, and the mist thickened, surrounding them both. A sudden force lifted them off their feet, the air vibrating with power. Daniel gasped as visions filled his mind. He saw battle's armies of seekers descending like storms, worlds burning under their judgment, and in every vision, figures stood together in steam chambers like this one, alien and human, bound, fighting as one. Their bond giving them impossible strength. Daniel stumbled as the vision faded, his body trembling. He looked at her, his voice hoarse. "This bond. It's not just about us, is it? It's bigger. It's a weapon against them." The alien woman's golden eyes narrowed, but she nodded. "Yes. The seekers fear the bond because it breaks their order. It joins what should never join. It gives power where they demand weakness. Her tail brushed his arm. Not in control, but in connection. They will never forgive us for what we are. But together, we can make them fear us. Daniel breathed hard, his heart pounding with both fear and determination. I'm no soldier, he admitted. I'm just a man who landed in the wrong place at the wrong time. Her lips curved faintly, almost a smile. No, human. You landed exactly where the chamber wanted you, and now you are mine and I am yours. The rumble grew louder. Chamber walls splitting wider through the cracks. Shadows moved more seekers, dozens of them, waiting, watching. Daniel tightened his grip on the alien blade he had taken earlier. The woman stepped beside him, her claws flashing, her tail curling like a whip. You chose to stay, she whispered. Now prove it. The chamber doors shattered, steam exploding outward. The seekers stormed in, weapons glowing, their voices rising in furious chants. Daniel and the alien woman stood together in the center, the bond pulsing like fire for the first time. Daniel did not feel outmatched. The first seeker charged. Weapon raised, Daniel met him head-on, the alien blade sparking as it clashed. His body moved smoother now, the bond guiding him, his fear turning into instinct. The seeker fell. His armor cracked by the force of a strike Daniel never thought himself capable of. Beside him, the alien woman struck with savage grace. Her claws tore through another, her tail snapping with brutal force. Every movement between them flowed as if rehearsed. When he faltered, she steadied him when she was cornered. He drove enemies away. The chamber roared with power, the runes blazing. Each breath Daniel took filled him with the mist's fire. Each strike carried both his strength and hers. The seekers fought with fury, but for the first time, they hesitated. For the first time, they feared. One by one, they fell, until silence reclaimed the chamber. The steam settled again, glowing faintly in the aftermath. Daniel stood with his blade lowered, his chest burning, his body shaking. The alien woman stood at his side, her tail slowly unwinding. You see? She said softly, this is what the bond means, not chains, not prisons, but strength. When alone we would fall. Daniel turned to her, meeting her golden gaze. And you see me? Not just human, not just prey. Her lips curved again, faint. But real, yes, I see you. Not as captive, but as chosen. The chamber's light dimmed. The runes returning to their faint glow, the steam thinned until Daniel could see the far walls again. The bond in his chest pulsed gently, not burning, not heavy, alive, steady, strong. Daniel looked around at the ruined chamber, then back to her. So what now? He asked quietly. The alien woman stepped closer, her eyes never leaving his. Now, human. We walk this path together. The galaxy will hunt us. But they will also learn the bond they fear most is the bond they cannot break. Her tail coiled gently around his arm once more, not to claim, but to anchor. Daniel let out a slow breath, his fear gone, replaced with quiet resolve. They thought I was prey, he said, his voice steady, but with you, with this bond. They'll learn I am not prey. I am human. The chamber echoed with his words. The mist curling as if in agreement, and as the steam settled into silence, Daniel and the alien woman stood side by side. Not captor and captive, not enemies bound by force, but partners, two broken souls forged into one fire, a fire the galaxy itself would soon learn to fear.